Okay, we are live. Welcome, everybody.
Brothers United.
Yay. What?
Phil's cheating. He's looking at the GM screen.
Oh, right. Well, how do I fix that? I want to pop out the chat so I just see the chat.
It doesn't matter. I'm sure you can not metagame.
What if I want to metagame, huh? Huh?
It's okay. Since I'm running off the missions, most of my notes are actually on a PDF. So, yes, welcome everybody. Today we are playing GURPS again. And we will be playing...
Yay, GURPS are back.
We'll be playing the next mission in our series of Shadowrun missions. This is mission number 8, but episode 10 in the series. So before we kick this off, does anyone have any points that they wish to spend? Oh, actually, yeah. Does anyone have any points they wish to spend?
No, I've only got one unspent, so I think I'm holding that, and I can't remember why.
Yeah, I think I was saving up for combat reflexes, which I should be able to afford at the end of this one.
Right, the combat tracker is going to need to be updated because it's definitely showing some people who aren't there, and it's also not picking up my updated speed correctly. Because if you remember, I have enhanced time sense, so that means I always go first. So we decided, oh yeah, we'll just put an insanely arbitrary speed up there.
Like 77?
Yep. Well, his base speed is 7, so I just said, you know what, 77. If we run into something that has a speed of 77, then holy crap.
Yeah.
Shard and Gorgo need their tokens added. GM's like, hey, it's 8 o'clock in the freaking morning here, man.
That's not necessarily my job to do people's tokens. That's my defense.
Good defense.
Did you upload them?
I did.
Well, then they could do their own damn tokens.
Hey, everybody, welcome back.
There is Shard's token.
He has a hockey stick.
Sort of.
Hey, I saw the picture.
It's actually an oar. That was the closest I could find. Which would also be a funny wizard staff.
Have you actually watched that show, Ethan?
I think I've caught a few episodes, though it came out when I was still relatively young, I believe.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. Have you read any of the books, the Dresden books? Because I know your dad has.
He has, but unfortunately I have not, no.
Yes, it's amusing. Is in the books, you know, he's a wizard, so he has an actual staff. But they filmed on location in Chicago, and there's an ordinance where you can't walk around with a weapon like that. So for the show, they said, you know what? Let's turn it into a hockey stick. And Butcher, the Jim Butcher, the author of the books, was like, I really wish I had thought of that. But we digress.
All right, so we also have 2 new characters that are joining us. would Shard?
Do we need to introduce all of the characters then as well, since they aren't familiar with ours?
Well, we
Sure.
have to introduce everybody in every mission because it always changes.
All right, Frost, you start.
Just a brief one.
Sorry, I'm not the
Damn
GM.
it! I wasn't freaking ready. I was about to go to the bathroom.
Okay, then Frey, you start.
Frey is easy. He is Elf John Wick. Well, mostly. He has a sister who is stuck in, I don't remember what we were calling that. She's like a quadriplegic and in almost super life support, but she's also a super awesome hacker when she actually deigns to show up. And she doesn't in this session. But yeah, so you think John Wick is an elf, and you are pretty damned accurate to what I'm playing.
All right. Is that enough time to be prepared, Frost?
I'm catching up. So Frost is a rich kid who is also a hacker / decker, who got into some trouble early on in life, and that ended up with his father being sent to prison for some shenaniganry that he was actually responsible for. And so he's been trying to build up enough cash to buy back some of the family's assets that were lost during the long trial and all that, and basically make up for the crap that he did when he was younger.
And stupid.
All right, Shard, introduce yourself.
All right, so Shard is a fairly mild a corporate worker who is looking to further some magical research as he's awakened and wants to find out more about the awakening and how that introduced everything back into the world. And so he's looking to pursue that and uses the money from Shadowrunning to help fund that research. He is also a hockey fan, and so don't insult his team. That won't go over well.
Sorry.
Precisely.
What's his team name?
There are worse sports fans
It
out.
looks like it actually didn't carry over because that was part. I did add that in. But it was the it being Seattle. I figured the make an homage to Renraku, and so it's the Renraku Imperians.
Cool.
So are there enforcers like trolls? Because I would love to see a troll skating.
So it's a corporate team.
Actually, that would be really amusing.
Wouldn't it, though?
Troll goalie, he just like sits himself in front of the goal.
No, dwarf.
Yeah, dwarf goalie, troll enforcer, and yes.
Elf center.
That would actually be really interesting. I'd pay for that. Okay, Gorgo, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Gorgo, Alexander Gorgo. I am a human, just humble background. I went to medical school and became a medic. Ended up falling in love and had a daughter, Amy Gorgo. She is 5 years old. The mafia, seeing my position in the medical field, thought that it would be a good idea to kidnap my daughter. And they basically said that if you don't sell drugs on their behalf, I will never get her back. So to get her back, I ended up selling drugs, and they did honor their word, and they allowed me to have my daughter back. But They wouldn't let me out under their sway. So that got me into the shadow running business. And so that's where my criminal background comes in. I feel guilty about it, but the guilt is not enough to stop me from doing it because I love my daughter. I want to keep her safe. But my desire is to eventually get away from the mafia, to clear my name, but do it in such a way that my daughter's life is not in danger.
Easy
I
peasy.
have,
Just hire me.
yeah. So that's probably how I came upon this group of Shadowrunners. One, my medic skills is of value, and even though my license has been in effect revoked because of I did get caught. They let me go. It's kind of under the table. So it's still kind of a secret to me. I don't share it, and I don't want it out. But I'm here. I'm gonna do my best to be a medic.
That's fine. I have a secret too that I don't want everybody to know. But
Which reminds me, can everyone roll into the box all your relevant enemies, secrets, and stuffs?
So,
I
for the
believe I did
noobs.
beforehand. Do I still need to? Or did you not see it?
I did not note it. I see it now.
So
So
for
how do we roll for that?
the GURPS noobs, what we typically do with that is we'll go to the skills tab, or what is that, abilities tab, and the other tab, and add a trait there with the level of whatever it is that you need to roll. So, for example, if you got a secret, I'll create a trait that is secret, whatever that is, and then set the level to 6, and then you can roll that from there.
I will create your contact for you, so you can see exactly what Daniel's talking about.
Yeah, I do that with all of my contacts as well, but I have it at 2 levels. I will have the availability under the other, and then I have underneath that their actual skill, because contacts are divided into, hey, this is their availability. Can you contact them? Yes. All right. Well, what's their skill level? That's this.
So it's a -5. How do I put that in there for -5?
On the other abilities, you don't need to worry about the points if you're doing abilities and then other.
Well, I'm
That's
doing
just
the secret. So
but
level
you've
would that
already got the secret on the disadvantages, so you've already
secrets
paid
are
for it.
almost always 6 or less with the level, unless you increase it. So you would just put a 6 in the level and don't worry about the points.
And then I roll for it, right?
Yeah, in that case, secrets are, well, they're supposed to be secret. So what you would end up wanting to do is either grab the die and dragging it onto the triangle with the eye, or drag the level over the triangle with the eye, which is the dice tower. Yep. So the GM should see that.
Interesting.
Ruh-roh!
And don't look at the
Damn it.
Twitch.
I was like, damn it, now I'm so tempted to look over there and see what interesting means.
Well, there's only one thing an interesting can mean on a secret roll.
Well, that's not true. You could just be blowing smoke up everybody's butt.
I could be.
I did not see initially on the character sheets that were listed on the boards, but do either Gorgo or Shard have any reputations?
Reputation, no, but I do have status 1.
Okay. Well, I was mostly wondering because when Book was still here, both him and Frey had the maxed out Shadowrun reputation. I wasn't sure if everybody was like that. And Shard does not have any contacts, but Gorgo does. It looks like he's got 3 contacts.
I've got a
No.
contact group mafia, contact medical, and contact fence fixer
Yeah.
or smuggler.
Yeah, I had spun up this note some time back so we could all try to keep track of who all we had with regards to that, if it actually comes up.
So you should probably. Okay, you've already added Gorgo.
Yeah, and I also added the comment about the inactive characters below because I didn't want to delete any of the other ones in case they were somebody came in and started to use them as temps.
Yep.
Crap.
The
Now one
other
of us
thing,
needs to. Now one of us needs to take Bookworm as a contact.
well, that's sort of I was sort of turning into the contact guy there for the longest
Actually.
time.
Actually, I'd have Shard take that.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Like if Shard maybe studied under him at college.
I will allow XPCs to be free contacts.
Okay,
All right.
that's cool. The other
What's
thing
the
role?
on the other, I would probably recommend at least for actually only for Shard, is a mage sense thing where it's like, since it's IQ plus your magery, so yours would be what 14, 17? Because sometimes the GM will say, "Hey, yeah, make like a it's that whole detect using your magery."
The astral perception.
Yep.
Got it.
For the role, actually, let's expand that. XPCs, we will make them free contacts and free allies. So, in the event that you guys need to call for backup, you could call them, but of course, they're going to want to get paid.
Oh, are you saying no role required, or?
There will be a role, so it'll be the default, which is 9 or less for both allies and contacts.
Is that the default? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I was gonna write in the frequency or availability number on there, but I can't edit that contact sheet.
Yeah, Phil needs to because he's the owner of it.
Yeah. So what do you need? What do you need me to do?
I was just gonna put the availability number on all the XPCs. It'd sure be nice if you could unlock a sheet so multiple people could actually edit. Of course, I wonder if Fantasy Grounds would freak out if you had multiple people editing at the same time.
It probably would. At least on a document where there's potentially lots of edits.
Maybe if you could release it like a character.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that'd be a core thing, I'm sure.
It is possible within the API to allow players to edit stuff, but it's not set up at all.
Well, it's probably not worth jumping through a lot of hoops to do it.
So, yeah, Phil, if you want to add to that inactive characters thing below, add the role for it. So make a note that they can be allies and contacts, and in both cases they will be 9 or less, and they will use whatever skills they have on their sheet.
Or you could do it that way.
Which means they can also die. So if you call them in on a job, they can die. So they can become XXPCs.
So if you res them afterward, they would be XXX PCs.
Or something.
Alright, so we've got some roles for secrets and enemies and allies. Are there any others that are relevant on your sheets?
Do I need a roll for my contacts too?
Only when you actually go to contact your contact. You will need to specify your contact, so give some thought as to who that contact actually is.
Okay.
No need to work that out right now, but give some thought to it, so when you do use your contact, you know who that person's going to be.
Well, the medical contact is probably going to be something like his previous EMT teammate.
Unfortunately, that guy moved to Chicago and became a superhero.
And which mafia? It's going to be the Italian mafia, I assume? Because there are several. You have Yakuza.
That's not a mafia, though. That's a Yakuza.
Well, it technically is, though.
Then you have the Russians.
That's a Bratva.
And Triads.
That's a triad.
Well, there is.
And Solpa.
And
I
I
have
looked
no
at the
idea what that is.
when I looked at the Shadowrun 4E core rulebook, it shows Mafia as a criminal organization, and then it also shows Yakuza and other ones. So
So
the
it's
Mafia
probably
is
Italian or Sicilian.
Right, so that is the traditional Italian mafia then. Alright. Anything else? Otherwise we shall begin. Oh, and for the purpose of this, Gorgo and Shard, you have been given an address to turn up for a meeting at 10 a.m. from a new fixer that you've all been, or both of you have been introduced to, as you've made your name known as someone looking for Shadowrun work. You have come in contact with a fixer named Claudia.
You were just looking for an excuse, weren't you?
I won't say no.
I'll make sure I'm there on time.
That is Claudia.
Hey, Claudia.
So she has told you to go to this meeting at 10 a.m. It is in the Orc Underground, and likewise, you guys, the rest of you, have been contacted by Claudia. You've been told that due to some people being unavailable, that Frost and Frey, apparently there's going to be some new additions to your crew, and Gorgo and Shard, you're told that you're going to meet new people.
What happened to Book?
He's busy doing other things right now. Claudia will tell you. He's asked me not to say.
That is hands down the wrong thing to tell Frost.
However, if you wish to get in contact with him, you can try roll 9 or less. Dial 9 on your cell phone.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Things happen. People leave this business one way or the other. As long as he's still alive, he walked out of it.
He had a long run.
He did. Okay.
So where's this address?
All right.
Orc
You will.
Underground?
It is in the Orc Underground, yes.
Ah, okay. I'm down here so frequently, I'm going to end up having to purchase area knowledge work underground, aren't I?
Yeah, I know, right?
Probably be a useful skill.
I was totally doing that
I
with
think I'm going to have
Ditch.
spent an area knowledge work underground.
Oh no. That means you guys don't have Pip as a contact anymore.
I'm going to have to probably pick him back up later.
So what we do is we have Book as a contact. We contact him, and then we get his contact to contact us.
Shadowrun phone tree. Got it.
Okay. You're not quite sure this is the location. There are no ARO advertisements or directions around the building. The sign does say New Babylon, which is the location you're supposed to meet, and it's 10 a.m. And it's 10 a.m. when you're supposed to meet your contact. The only indication that the shop is open is a flashing 20th century style neon sign that says open. You're here, you might as well check it out. As soon as you open the door, you're assaulted by a variety of scents, oils, lotions, incense, pot, and other smells you don't recognize. As you recover from the initial olfactory assault, you scan your surroundings. The interior is modestly sized, with several aisles packed from floor to ceiling with kinds of materials that you would associate with a talismonger's shop, plus some things whose purpose you don't want to think about. Actually, I have a picture for you.
I'm gonna leave a fly spy outside in a shadowy corner watching our exit.
Because you're not paranoid or anything.
Probably not paranoid enough.
Valid point.
Your ears pick up the sound of a beaded curtain being pushed out of the way, and a voice from the back of the store says, "Welcome." Actually, I'll try this in a Jamaican accent, a bad Jamaican accent.
This is going to be awesome.
You don't have to do that.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah, I do. I embrace bad accents. Welcome to the New Babylon.
Yes, you do.
If we don't have what you be looking for, then I sure can get it, man. As you maneuver, you see the source of the voice, and you see a middle-aged orc standing behind the counter. The first thing that you notice is the battered and creased black top hat sitting upon his head. Beneath that, are thick dreadlocks that once may have been once black but now are more grey. The dreadlocks frame a tanned and weathered face with piercing green eyes. The face is either tattooed or covered in paint that mimics the appearance of a skull. The orc's right tusk is broken and is capped with silver. The rest of the orc is clothed in a wrinkled tuxedo that is open and reveals a green t-shirt that has the words 7 Up written in white letters.
Make 7 Up yours.
I guess 7 Up is I don't know. Maybe it's still around.
I'm gonna guess not.
He also wears jeans and a pair of flip-flops. The orc grasps a cane with a head of silver in the shape of a skull with a top hat. The pearl-plated handle of a revolver can be seen under his chest, poking out from beneath his jacket. Your fixer said the Johnson would look eccentric, so this must be him. The orc looks at you and motions for you to come to the back as he holds open the set of beaded curtains.
All right. Well.
Hang on, I've got to try the accent again. Please enter my home as a most welcome guest, and Papa Gary willing, we can reach an accord over a most important job.
Well, here we are.
Looking around his shop as we're walking through, utilizing esoteric medicine, is there anything that I would deem of value that would help me with healing or anything like that?
There's pot for medicinal purposes.
Give me a perception roll. Actually, that'd probably be a relative skill roll. So give me, to do a relative skill roll, grab your esoteric medicine rolling dice, drag it on top of perception that's up the top of your character sheet. When you're on the skills tab, that is.
Got it first try.
You do. There are a number of different charms, trinkets, and stuff that you would imagine is useful in healing. Feel free to make up whatever names you want for these things, like, Eye of Newt and stuff.
Okay.
Hey. Looks like Gorgo is the smart guy in the group now that we don't have Book anymore.
Well, I'm going back there, find out what's going on, because I don't care about any of this stuff.
So you're shown into a spacious living room. It is furnished with mats and pillows. This guy, which you know as King Willy, at least that's what your fixer, told you.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, isn't that the guy that got decapitated in Predator 2?
No, that was Billy, wasn't it?
No, Predator 2, not the first Predator. Predator 1, Billy was the Indian tracker dude. No, in Predator 2, when they were in Los Angeles,
right?
the Jamaican king, and I thought King Willy was the dude who ends up getting decapitated by the predator.
Yeah, it was.
That would be amusing
On
if
the
this guy's
other
actually
side.
modelled off him in some way.
Yeah, that doesn't seem bode well for him.
So
How
he
can we
motions
help?
for all you guys to take a seat on the cushioned mats.
Huh.
I'll take a seat.
Okay.
As you guys take a seat, he goes around the room and starts lighting some incense, and the last thing he lights is a joint. He takes a big swig as he walks over to the group of you seated down.
Swig, huh?
Toke. You never know, maybe drag. Is toke not a word for you guys?
No,
Oh,
that's
there
right.
it
So he offers it to each of you.
No, thank you.
I'm gonna politely refuse, like not while I'm working.
Oh,
pass as well.
I missed book already.
Yeah, it's just
Book
not
would
gonna
have
be the
taken
same
and said,
without
all
it."
right. So sorry,
Uh,
Shard. Since you're our new resident wizard, you have to go. Well, I don't mind if I do.
No, I'm good, thanks.
I think Frost probably won't mind taking a drag or two. He's gonna have to figure out how to get around his face mask, though.
You can use it's a face mask. You can use it.
Can I determine possibly where the joint came from?
Wow, why does that matter?
Because I sell drugs.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And
Dealers.
give me a streetwise roll if you have the skill.
Oh, drug dealers. Oh no.
Should I roll that on the temple or just on the
Generally, if I want a secret roll, then I'll ask you to roll into the box. So
Okay.
if I don't ask, then just roll. Damn, you're good at this shit.
Beginner's luck.
Given that it's in the Orc Underground, chances are that he may have sourced these drugs from a guy that used to go by the name of Johnny Torini. He was a mafia figure. However, he has recently, or maybe not so recently, I'm not sure exactly on the dates, but he has disappeared. Word is that he is dead.
Do you remember what the name of that mission was? Is that like Smuggler's Blues?
No,
No, that wasn't it.
that's where you had to go across the border.
That was the one where we lost Ditch.
Alas, poor Ditch. Was it like the first one?
No.
That was the Fiona Craig.
No,
So-
I think it was when Ditch was
I
here,
make the
though.
comment. So what's the word on Johnny?
The guy says, "Oh, they say Johnny, he dead."
How long ago did you get that joint?
Can we focus on why we're here?
He says, "I be growing my own supply."
Okay.
Why do you ask?
Just curious.
So he will sit down and he'll take another long drag and he'll sort of blow the smoke into the air, sort of in the center of the little circle that you guys have made, and he will offer a prayer to Papa Gady. Those of you that have Magery, or Thaumatology, you can make an IQ plus Magery roll or a Thaumatology roll.
Let's see. Do I even have thaumatology? I do not.
So you will see during his prayer, he is actually casting some spells. He must be good because he's not doing any wild gestures or anything like that. He will notice that you guys have observed this, and he says, "You can relax. They're just barriers to make sure that no one is eavesdropping."
Is that a concern for this mission?
In our line of work, it is always a concern. But what I have to tell you, if it got into the public, it could create some panic. So, he sits down to talk with you guys and discuss the mission, and he tells you that one of his friends has contacted him. It is a Catholic priest named Father Franklin McMickey. McMickey runs a orphanage that is in the Redmond Barrens, and he has reported that there is some of the kids there have come down with a strange illness. The doctors have no explanation for the illness. There's nothing wrong in terms of pathology or anything like that. These kids are physically healthy. McMickey knows Willy and figured he would ask Willy to have a look, and Willy explains that to find the problem, he did a vision quest. And what he was able to determine was it appears that these kids, or these orphans, are being prepared for vessels for possession. In this, he also mentions clickers. You will ask, and he will explain. The clickers are insect spirits.
No.
He will also explain that during the vision quest, he was given a glimpse of an artifact of great power that the clickers were using. And he also says that he fears that time is running out. That whatever is going to happen very soon.
Yeah, one of the noobs should have had a phobia of insects.
Well, they may after this.
True.
So I think in the lore, there is the Universal Brotherhood is a group that tried to basically have these insects invade, but they were eventually shut down. I think it was Detroit where it happened. Not sure.
Was there a point other than just chaos?
World domination, I believe.
So with my esoteric medicine role and determining that there was stuff in the store that could potentially help with healing, can I determine if there's any of those materials that would help with turning possession, reversing it?
Alright, give me a roll on esoteric medicine, but this is going to be at a penalty of, say, 4, because it's a purely magical nature and you're not magical at all.
Perception or just general esoteric medicine?
Just your general skill.
Wow. Lucky bastard.
There are some of the
Looks like
things.
it was in Chicago.
Yeah, that's ringing
What's the
bells.
guy's name again?
King Willy.
King Willy. I noticed that there's some stuff in your store that I could use to help potentially reverse the possession. Any chance we can barter?
Of course. Everything in my shop is for sale.
Including the orc?
Aye, including me if your price is right.
So it looks to me that it looks like it is public knowledge about these insect spirits as of 2055. What is Shadowland?
It's like a BBS.
Okay, that's BBS. Okay.
That's the Reddit of the Shadowrun world.
Yeah, because it says in December 2055, Shadowland spread to the public information about the presence of insect spirits in Chicago. Because I'm wondering if there is any appropriate skills that we would make to know about them. I probably don't know a great deal about them.
If you have current affairs headline news, then you could certainly use that.
I just have current affairs politics.
Ha!
So you, Frost, will remember this was a thing, going a little ways back. It was a big event. They were shut down, and if you ask, King Willy will say that he was on the front lines of that.
This is airy space. Okay. All right. So we need to find out who's responsible, neutralize them, and prevent this potential incursion.
In his describing of the events and stuff, he stresses that these bugs are dangerous, and they really need to be stopped.
We have any facts other than the kids?
You do not.
Where are the kids currently located?
Some orphanage?
The kids, they be in Father McMickey's orphanage in the Redmond Barrens.
Of course it's in the Barrens.
The orphanage is called Met Children First. His work is dear to my heart. He looks after the orc and trolls.
It's a troll farm.
You don't say that, otherwise that's very rude.
Oh my god, there needs to be a farm somewhere that's nothing but trolls.
Larry Correa has these series of books, the Monster
Yeah.
Hunters International, and one of the funniest things that he did in there, and, it's an modern urban fantasy thing where the good guys are, literally they're monster hunters. They go out and kill monsters, but you actually find out that online trolls are actually real trolls. That's their
hilarious.
thing now.
So I'd recommend we probably go to this orphanage first.
That is the only clue we have.
We also need to discuss pay.
True.
You should go talk to Father McMickey and Mama Cat. They be able to help you. As for pay, I can only offer you $5K each.
That is awfully low.
Bit low.
Aye, it be low, but I did see in my vision quest this artifact. If you can find it, then perhaps I can put you in touch with some foundations that might pay for that.
Can I use diplomacy or another skill to help lower the price of his goods, so I can get just miscellaneous herbs for healing and some items for the reversing of the possession?
The skill you want to use for that is merchant.
Damn it, that's a skill I keep forgetting to get.
As for reversing the possession, the guy, Billy has told you that they're not possessed, they're being prepared as vessels for possession. So the stuff that you're looking at is things that will make it more difficult.
Now, the previous incident in Chicago, was that also a possession thing?
I believe so. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so-
You'd have to reference the wiki for details.
Let's see. Looking at that, let me find it again. Yeah, it was a failed Ares operation to clean up major hive. Okay, let me cycle back.
Says insect spirit spread in the city, but
Yeah.
doesn't say how.
The Universal Brotherhood, founded in 2043. Did 4 chapter houses opened mostly in California, Free State. by 2050, it was estimated that they had over 300 chapters in North America. Yeah, it became an influential cult similar. That's ironic. Influential cult similar to Scientology, which embraced all aspects of society and social class. All the while, the hives behind the organization were turning members into flesh form and true form insect spirits.
Huh.
Sorry, just a quick question. Are you sure I cannot use diplomacy? Because it says, say, the skill in negotiating, compromising, and getting along with others. The idea would be, since we're getting paid so low, trying to negotiate a lower price on his goods as a added benefit for the lower cost for the job.
For negotiating prices, it is normally merchant. However, this being GURPS, you can usually use that stuff at default, and sometimes it may actually default from diplomacy. I don't recall right off the top of my head.
You can use diplomacy to get a good reaction, which will determine the initial price of whatever it is you want to buy. So indirectly, you can get. So you will get a good reaction, and I think from memory that's 10%.
Well, that's for the actual haggling, but yeah.
Well, haggling is merchant skill.
From there. Merchant is IQ -5 at default.
Either way, he will, considering that you are doing this for the kids and such, he will give you the ingredients free of charge.
Thank you.
Obviously, you don't clean him out, but he'll give you enough.
I'm just going to do like miscellaneous herbs for healing and trinkets for, possession resistance. Sound good?
Sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, it probably makes sense for you to actually add merchant skill since you actually deal in things.
That's going to be very interesting when Frey finds out, because he has an intolerance towards drug dealers and addicts.
Yeah, but it's not his fault.
I sincerely hope he finds that out before he decides to just shoot Gorgo in the head a couple times.
Is pot a drug?
Well, technically, yes. Although I wonder if it's illegal or not.
If you recall, the point of the intolerance is that's how his parents were killed, and his sister was put in the status that she's in.
So while pot's not a hard drug, it probably irks him a little bit.
Yeah, I would guess, since the trend right now is the legalization of pot, that by this point in history it will have been legalized entirely.
Yeah, you probably get soy pot, synth pot,
and all manner of stuff. Right. So I didn't finish my thought. So
It derailed.
So we don't actually know that. Yeah, it hit a medic. We don't actually know if the previous incident in Chicago had anything to do with possession. So I guess at this point, then Frost would probably just ask King Willy about that. Was there a possession involved last time? And if there were, how did they deal with it?
All right.
Course, since the GM doesn't actually know, then
since he doesn't know, well, since I don't know exactly, we will say. So even if this is not canon, this is how the canon is going to work. the incursion began with possessions. Once they were here and in their insect forms, then they could, set up their hives and breed. The queen will possess someone, and then she can lay her eggs, and so that's how it started.
That makes sense.
So if that's not the canon, that is the canon now. And Willy, we shot them. That is all we could do. We hunted down the queen, and we filled her with lead.
Most of the time, that's good enough.
If you have body language, you can roll.
I have psychology.
Body language is the skill that I'm after. So Frey, in remembering these events, the bugs and stuff, you can see that it actually has a visible reaction. It is something that is really sort of raw to him. It must have been a fairly traumatic experience.
Right.
Like PTSD sort of thing. And given that, I'll let you roll perception.
Let me see, actually, if that's what
That's
I
fine.
should have rolled. It actually should have been a 15, not a 13. So success by 2.
Success is all that's needed. So given that that insight into him, you will also notice around the place there is dream catchers and stuff like that. And I don't know what the voodoo equivalent of a dream catcher or lucky charm or protection, rabbit's foot and stuff like that. He has them placed up around the place.
That's a good question.
It is a good question. Now I'm like, I wonder,
I'm searching the image if there's anything there that might be hints. I'm not going to say skulls, miniaturized skulls, or lucky charms.
Well, surely they are somehow.
So whatever the voodoo equivalent, but you do see actual dream catchers, which are obviously Native American.
Yeah.
So you see a number of those placed around the place.
Daniel and I know what those look like. You see them
Mhm.
all over the place here in Oklahoma, hanging from people's car or rear view mirrors.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How many people
Everywhere.
are sleeping in their cars?
Yeah, it's just like that seems like a dumb place for that. Are you asleep while you're driving? Wait, that would make a little bit of sense, actually.
I think most of the ones with them hanging in their car probably don't even know what it's supposed to do.
Just ornamental.
Sooth.
But yeah, so this guy, you'll get some insight. This guy is suffering from, possibly nightmares and some PTSD regarding his past experiences.
Knowing that Frey has an unspecified governmental background and the fact that he almost exclusively uses Ares equipment, I'm sort of leaning toward he was a member of Ares. And I'm actually wondering, I'm going to ask him, ask him as we're getting up and preparing to depart. I'm going to ask him as like were you a member of Firewatch then, which is the Ares Special Forces teams that fought the spirits?
He will simply give you a quick nod.
Because it's entirely possible Frey may be ex-Firewatch as well.
Yeah. We be on the front line in those terrible times.
Which team?
He will give you a...
Yeah, because it looks like in 2055 there were 3 Firewatch teams. So it might be like Team 1, Team 2, Team 3.
So we'll say he was Team Alpha.
Well, we Alpha boys need to look after one another. So
He gives you the I'm impressed guy nod.
Looks like we need to go speak with or at least talk to this priest and poke around, see what we can find out. Actually, it looks like Claudia did some good picking with regards to Shard and Gorgo, because Gorgo, it's like this is going to have Gorgo do the medical stuff, and when we get there, we'll have Shard do his science or his magic-y stuff to see if he can do anything.
Yeah, I was going to say on our way out. Well, I guess I know why they're here.
Claudia knows his shit.
And considering he said, these things are super dangerous, I got a pretty good idea why I'm here.
Normally she picks kind of randomly.
If she picks exactly what you need every time. It's all on purpose. You just don't know it.
Did she set Ditch up to die?
He stood her up on a date. You don't do that to Claudia.
I don't think Ditch would do that to Claudia.
In his defense, he was like just late. He was running from some bad guys.
Well, Claudia has never talked about it, but you never know. So, you guys will finish up with him. If there's any questions that you have, he will answer them, and you can consider that information that you have if you ask later on. And you will also grab an assortment of bits and pieces that you can use to help ward against possession.
Yeah, probably during the conversation, but certainly continuing after. Frost is going to start the research process into Chicago.
All right.
Don't need to do anything with it right now. Just know that I'm starting that process.
Give me a roll.
Or I can give you a roll now.
You can give a roll.
What is that? Let's see. Since I'll be doing other things at the same time, probably.
All right, so that will go off in the background. It doesn't happen until you get matrix connectivity where you're at. There is none. Which is
there not?
The Orc Underground has very, very patchy matrix connections. There's a number of local, private networks or private matrices. So, you don't have external access, but you can access private stuff. Private servers will talk. So
those private are internal only. They're not actually externally connected.
No,
because I could totally piggyback on one of them.
No, they are not.
All right.
One of the reasons why ORC, as in the organisation ORC, want to get the underground legitimised so that things like matrix and infrastructure can be built for the underground.
All they want is some damn cell reception down there.
All right, so you start that, and then you can feel free to browse the Shadowrun wiki for all information on the Universal Brotherhood and the bug incursion.
So two things. One, do we go straight to the orphanage? And two, if so, how are we going to get there?
I'm gonna drive. How did you get here?
Are we all driving separately? We never asked that until after we're here already.
So you will look up on the Google Earth. This orphanage, the address is in the Redmond Barrens, but it's very close to the tourist section of the Redmond Barrens. So it's not, a completely destroyed place and dangerous.
It's in the nicer part of Redmond.
Yeah.
You might want to share the city map or the region map.
I was just doing that. Touristville. That's what they call it. So before heading there, are you guys doing anything? And
I can't think of anything.
That also, are you guys equipping?
I've already got my stuff with me.
Actually, I'm going to try something, which isn't going to work. Oh well.
Let's see. Well, I guess we'll probably be kit out for an op.
Yeah, I am not going to be running around with the rifles out and about, but it is definitely in my car for once we need it.
On the map there, I've actually drawn a picture to Touristville in the Barrens. Or drawn an arrow, not a picture. So it has average security.
Well, it's a good thing I actually have a permit to carry sidearms.
Damn it, did I do that? I don't think I ever did that.
Probably not, because you're saving up to get combat reflexes.
Yeah, well, it's probably a worthy expenditure.
Oh, you're also given some details on this artifact that he saw in his vision quest.
Oh, right. Yeah, what is it?
He told you that this artifact is something that the bug spirits are using to perhaps assist in the incursion. And obviously, since there is some organizations that seem to be in this competition for arcane artifacts.
We've got some of them. What is it? Draco, Atlantean, Lung, and Satyr-Krupp?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, because Draco really likes us. Lung sort of dislikes us. Satyr-Krupp kind of likes us. And the Atlantean Foundation is indifferent towards us.
And King Willy also tells you that if you need to, he can put you in contact with them to help you sell this item.
Damn, there's another reason we're going to miss Book, because he had one of them as a contact. Moreau, yeah, the Draco guy.
Well, Moreau was just a runner for him.
Yeah, but he was able to represent them. I don't know, since Draco sort of liked us and Book had him as a contact, maybe Book went to work for him.
That's true.
He's got his private mission, his side gig.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Claudia hired him as a bed buddy.
Would the person who provides drugs, would that be a fencer, fixer, or smuggler?
Be a target.
None of those?
A fixer sets you up with, if you need a job done, then a fixer can set you up with people to do the job. If you need access to the black market, the fixer can get you that access. What was the smuggler?
Yeah.
Is someone that will actually get stuff through customs or cross borders and stuff like that. They'll move artifacts, so that could well be drugs, but they're not actually a pusher of the drugs. They're just specialized transport. And what was the other one?
Fencer.
A fence is buying and selling illegal stuff.
Buys stolen property.
Which could also be drugs too, right?
Well, you don't normally steal drugs and then sell it to a fence.
But if you did steal some drugs from the mafia and you needed to find someone to offload those drugs, you could contact a fence to do that.
True.
But they're not necessarily drug dealers. So if you're looking for a contact that is a drug dealer, then you probably want to specify drug dealer. Because while some of those, they could be related, it is not what they do.
What drugs are illegal?
Well, you've got BTLs.
Well, yeah.
But they're illegal only in as much as they're enforced. So prior to heading to this orphanage, is there anything that you guys were doing? And it's probably a good idea to work out how you're getting there.
Well, I drove here.
I'll get
Well,
someone.
the
in the
question isn't.
In the Orc
question
Underground,
isn't
there's
so
no
much
driving.
how we're going to get there from
Oh,
here, but
right,
are we going to go
yeah.
together?
So you would have drove to one of the entrance points to the underground, and
Yeah,
then
probably the one that is closest to. Hold on. I can answer this. The one that is closest to the topside construction, because I have a positive reputation with those guys.
all right. So you recalled that there was a secret entrance that Topside
Yep.
would be using. So yeah, if you flick a few dollars or new yen to some of the guys there, they'll quite happily let you park your car inside the. Actually, it was a car park.
Yeah, I think so.
wasn't it?
Yeah, so they. You don't need to park in the warehouse. You can just park there, but they'll let you in through that entrance.
I'm presuming that Frost is taking public transportation here since he's going to have to get out and walk anyway. So Frey had a normal saloon, I thought. Something like a Mustang.
You could take public transport to the Touristville section of the Barrens. You might have to walk a block to get, a block or two to get to the orphanage. But you can take public transport there.
There was a point in this meta campaign that we were gonna get some kind of company vehicle, like a black van, because we always run into this problem. We all need to get there, but everybody's got separate vehicles.
If you're going to get a black van, you need to get yourself a BA Baracus as well.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I think you can actually buy them. They come installed with a BA.
Well, question. This is kind of out of character, but when Claudia, when she was putting together the team, determine who the driver would have been?
Yeah, I don't think she cares that much. She's like, yeah, you guys deal with that.
She figured that she doesn't need people to drive around. This is not a driving-based mission.
Yeah, if this was a typical bank heist or something, we needed a getaway driver, she might do that. But in this case, no. We have yet to need a specialist driver. We should do that one day. At any rate, one of the prior characters had a Jeep, and we had a tendency to end up in it.
All right, so how do you get there?
Well, I drove somewhere and parked my car nearby, and where I felt it was safe, and walked to the store.
All right, since it's in the Touristville section of the Barrens, there is a secure car park that you can use. Parking is expensive, however, so scratch off 50 credits or new yen from your character sheet. Unless you want to park on the street, but then you risk,
Safe location.
Yeah,
is
so
fine.
if we've got two people that drove, we can cover everybody, I suspect.
All right, so 2 cars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And no one wanted to do anything prior to that.
Nah, don't have anything in particular.
Nor do I.
Yeah, not at the moment.
I already did what I needed. I got the miscellaneous herbs and trinkets.
Okay. There's a certain feeling you wish you weren't familiar with. The disgust of coming out of a synthol-induced blackout, rolling over and seeing the most god-awful wreck of a person lying in a bed with you. The person might have looked good at night when you couldn't see through the haze of whatever you ingested in the course of the evening, but now that person has been exposed to the sunlight, you firmly believe he or she should shriek in pain and slither back to whatever cesspool spawned him or her, or it. Now, that is how the Redmond Barrens looks during the day. At least your trip is taking you to the good part of the Barrens, Touristville. The address for the Meta Children First Orphanage puts you right outside this area. As you arrive, you are greeted with a sight not common to the Barrens. About a city block worth of real estate has been cleaned up. A lone 3-story former apartment complex is the only building in that space. The remaining portion of the block contains a playground and a green space. A 12-foot tall chain-link fence surrounds the perimeter. A middle-aged orc woman sits at a table holding an infant and feeding it with a bottle, while a human woman pushes 2 toddler-aged orc children on a swing set. 5 children scamper upon a large climbing set, laughing and taunting each other. At the far end of the play area, 5 teenagers, 2 orcs and 3 trolls, are just sitting and staring into nothing, in stark contrast to the laughter of the younger children less than 5 meters away. The orc woman occasionally looks up at the teenagers and shakes her head. The back door of the building opens, and an elderly human man dressed in the garb of a Catholic priest steps out. He goes up to the orc woman, whispers in her ears, and she pats his hand. He looks up and seems to notice you, looks down at a data pad and then back up at you and motions you toward the front of the building.
Should have done a background check on him.
Seeing the reaction of the orc woman towards the teenage orcs and trolls, can I use a diagnose to determine what might be bothering those kids?
You would have to go up to them and actually diagnose.
Okay, I'll reserve that for a little bit later. Well, let's go talk to the father.
Was it Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey.
Yeah.
He is an Irish. He's an Irish Catholic priest, if there ever was one.
Father McMickey, I presume.
To be sure, to be sure.
God
You
help
know,
us.
when I GM, there's 0 chance I'm going to do that because I can't do accents.
Neither can I.
Yeah, but you, as far as I'm concerned, you already
Actually,
have an
neither
accent.
can Mark.
Yeah, I
Mark's
guess I come with a...
hysterical. Yeah, Mark's hysterical with his bad accents because you have no idea what it's going to start out as and what it's going to end up as,
Or where it's going to go in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Brian's Australian accent is decent, I guess.
I'd hope so. I worked a long a long time on that one.
I don't know. You did pretty good with the South African one in the Bainstorm game that Mark was running.
To be fair, we don't actually hear a whole lot of South African ones.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Sorry. So,
So
hello
you
there.
you enter
I believe
the
you were expecting us.
you enter through the gates, and immediately you guys are swamped by kids as they run around your legs, and these are orc and troll kids. So some of the troll kids probably stand as tall as you. So they run around you and swarm you, and one of the troll kids says, "Is that a gun?" To Frey.
It most definitely is.
"Can I shoot it?"
Not today. I may need it later.
He sort of cocks his head. You know the meme of the African boy who sort of cocks his head.
Yeah.
He gives you that look and he says, "Have you killed anyone?"
How do I respond to that?
Great. Now I have to turn that kid into a troll.
Not today.
Day ain't over yet.
Everyone roll D6.
Why are we rolling a D6?
Tells me who I'm going to pick on.
Because we're followers and we do what we're told.
Alright, so an orc child, probably, it's hard to tell, but probably maybe 5 or 6 years old, since orcs mature a lot faster than their human counterparts.
They have really shorter lifespans, right?
Yes. An orc child runs up to Frost and immediately stands in front of Frost, holding his hands up, and he says, "Up, piggyback."
Showing empathy and being broad-minded, I'm going to say, if you don't want to pick them up, I will.
I'm wondering. Well, none of them look like clowns.
I don't understand the reference. Do you have a clown issue?
He may have a clown issue.
Keep that in mind, Brian. We absolutely have to have a mission where we dress up as clowns.
It's going to happen.
Not going to happen.
You
It's totally going to happen.
You look down the street, and across the street there's a guy in a clown outfit just looking at you. He stares for a moment, then disappears down an alley.
I don't see him. I don't see any reason why Frost would be bothered about kids. So we'll pick him up.
All right. So you pick up the orc child and
Try to keep him from kicking the deck.
What's your strength?
Not that high, just 11.
That's enough.
Well,
so
you're actually stronger than I am, I think.
The kid actually climbs you and will sit on your shoulders as you sort of walk in, and then the rest of the kids basically surround you, and you are new stimulus to these kids that are obviously overactive, full of sugar or whatever. And except you notice the teenagers off to the side are just blank. They blank stares.
I'm gonna nod Gorgo and Shard towards those teenagers with the presumption that's the ones.
Hey, Father.
Because yeah,
What's up with the teenagers over there?
He says, King Willy sent you.
That is
he
correct.
did.
Those are the kids that we have some concerns about.
Do you
They've been
mind if I look
getting
them over?
progressively worse. He says, of course. He will walk over there with you.
Diagnose?
He will introduce you to each of the kids, giving you their names. However, they do not react whatsoever to...
Does Shard have any detect capabilities?
I think the main one would be that mage sense. Looking through my spells here. Don't believe. Yeah, I don't have anything that I think would work as any form of detection apart from the standard mage sense.
Okay, so what kind of wizard is he then?
At the moment, largely combat. The big two would be like missile and fireball, but also have force dome and wall and like ward and iron arm. But those are sort of the big ins.
Okay. Well, still, the detect capability may allow you to sense if there's magic on them.
One thing that you may want to consider in the tweaking of your character is astral perception. So I think it's a 5-point advantage. It will let you see in the astral as per regular Shadowrun. So you can see the effects of magic and see people's auras and that sort of stuff. See spirits.
Yeah, I'll definitely pick that up, bud.
And I think it's actually called astral perception. That's in GTA. So McMickey introduces the kids by name and will tell you we get nothing out of them at the moment. We can lead them around. We have to feed them, but it's almost like there's nothing there.
So I will look them over, check them over. Do you want me to do a diagnosis or esoteric medicine?
You can do a diagnosis. Alright, so you check them, but you have to basically puppet them. So if you want to sort of look in their ear or whatever to do like an examination, you have to turn their head, otherwise they just don't respond to any of your voice stuff. But if you move them into a position, they will they'll move. They won't put up any resistance. If you look into their eyes, you check them over. You check things like nervous response and all that sort of stuff, and everything just checks out. Without doing tests, like blood tests and stuff like that. Everything that you could tell via diagnosis tells you that these kids are fit and healthy, they're fine, they've got enough food. There's nothing wrong with them.
Oh, probably ask the father then. It's like, presume that you've checked them for drugs, blood tests, stuff like that.
Yes. As I don't know if King Willy. I don't know if King Willy told you. We've had doctors look over them. They've had countless tests, and they can find nothing wrong.
Well, from what I understand from, what I can observe here, they are healthy. Obviously, there's something wrong with them, and what I'm getting the sense of is what King Willy told us is they are in the process of getting ready for possession. So, I have stuff with me that might help them to resist. Shard, do you sense any magic around these kids?
Without the astral perception, I don't believe so.
No.
So can I use esoteric medicine with the trinkets I use to see if I can maybe help these kids resist whatever's happening? And maybe have Shard assist or something like that?
You can, but that will take a little bit of time to sort of do your preparations and stuff. Also, with Shard, if you wanted to rejigger some points now, you're welcome to take astral perception.
Okay. I will. I just need to find a disad to take.
Okay, so roll esoteric medicine.
Yes.
And then I also have the higher purpose medic, so that gives me a modifier +1. So do I add that?
It might already be calculated in.
I don't know if it is.
Should be. It should say.
Let me check.
Hold on. Let me look.
Yes, esoteric medicine has your healer, includes +4 from healer.
That's the talent. That's not the higher purpose. I don't think it will include the higher purpose because that's not conditional.
I'm looking at your sheet now.
So I have to manually add the modifier when I do any kind of medical things, correct?
What actually is the trigger for that?
It will probably be a conditional thing. So if certain conditions are met, then it works. But I'll give it to you in this case. So feel free to make a roll with the +1. You don't necessarily need to add the modifier, just roll. And we can math it ourselves. So, alright, so you prepare whatever esoteric medicine treatments you have. You know that you won't see any immediate effects, but you are familiar with the fact that this will make it more difficult to possess. So you also spread the effect, say garlic. So you put a garlic necklace around the kids to stop vampires. You do the equivalent thing with regards to possession.
Okay.
So it's not going to necessarily reverse what's happening because they're not actually being possessed, but you're going to make it more difficult to possess if that comes.
Higher purpose apparently applies in an action scene.
Okay. So in this case,
Well, I would have succeeded by 2 if I don't get the +1.
a success is all that's necessary, so you're good. So you'll do that for the kids?
Yes, I'll do that for the kids because I know what's happening to them based on King Willy. So I would at least go through what I know of to try to at least slow down the possession and allow them to hang out longer.
Who among us actually knows anything about possession? What do we know?
It's bad.
I mean, specifically. Because
It's really bad.
if none of us here have that expertise, we're obviously gonna have to look it up and/or get help.
Well, that's where we would want Shard, because if he has the astro possession, whatever, then he can see what's going on in the astral plane.
It may have been just Ethan. It may have been just something that was added in the Shadowrun thing.
I would bet that you would find
It's
it
in the psionics.
powers, enhanced perception,
Okay.
or enhanced senses.
I see astral
Probably both of
projection
those.
talent. Power is
That's
121.
for psionics. That's a psionic power or psionic talent, probably.
It'll probably be in the powers book or the psionic powers book.
I would look at enhanced senses because it's more than likely going to be in there.
But I recall it's a 5-point advantage. So you can give me a perception roll, please. As you you close your eyes, you concentrate for a moment on the astral, open them again, and you will see a world that is overlaid with the aura of the living force.
It's Eagle Vision from Assassin's Creed.
Where was perception again? My apologies.
First page.
First page, or it's on the skills page as well.
Oh boy.
So you look, you get bonuses because you're actually looking. You're focused on the kids. I think it's +2, and it is blatantly obvious that the aura of these kids is, if everyone, a normal person has a bright, vibrant aura, the auras on each of these kids is almost non-existent. It's dull, faded. You can barely see it. It's almost like their soul has vacated their body.
Not upon.
That doesn't seem to come highly recommended.
Which, given what King Willy told you, makes sense. Empty the vessel to replace it with whatever's coming. So that's what you see.
Do you have any spells that can surround them and protect them from astral attacks?
No, and if I did, then it would be way too draining to actually keep up for an appreciable amount of time.
You have spells like Pentagram and Ward come to mind.
I do have Ward, but I need to have whatever spell or effect is being used on them in order to ward against it, and even then it would only work once. And so if this is a continual or reoccurring effect, then that wouldn't work. And I do not have Pentagram.
Okay, so what I'm mostly interested in is how are they gaining access to these kids? So I want to have the father walk me through these kids' regular days. And I'll have to obviously double check with Shard to confirm that this is not the case. This just couldn't happen. The things that have to actually be there to, take a
Yeah.
bite out of their
How long
souls,
has
right?
this been going on? When did this start?
Yeah. When did it start? Had they started doing anything different? Do you have new people and staff?
All right,
Has any
so
members of your staff
Father
been acting weird?
Father McMickey says we should talk to Mama Cat. She deals with the kids day in day out. I'm only here
Mama
part of the
Cat.
time. The rest of my time is spent at church in Bellevue. He says you're welcome to come visit if you wish. So he takes you to introduce you to Mama Cat, and Mama Cat is the aging orc that you saw with the infant. She has an Afghan shawl wrapped around her shoulders. She's wearing a fairly conservative grey dress, and a distinguishing feature is a wide-brimmed woven hat. And she just has that grandma vibe.
Ma'am?
Hello?
I'm gonna wait until the father actually introduces us.
So he'll introduce you. This is Mama Cat. Mama Cat, these are the people that I talked to you about.
You can call me Frey, ma'am.
She
Yeah, go ahead.
says, would any of you like anything to eat? We have some chocosoy chip cookies and some peanut butter sandwiches if you like. We also have something for you to drink, juice or water.
Thank you, no, ma'am. I think I'm okay.
I would like a cookie.
So she will grab a plate, put a few cookies on the plate, and grab a glass, water or juice. And she's pulling all this from a picnic basket that she's obviously got for the kids.
Water, please.
She'll put a glass in front of you. It is just a plastic cup. She pours a glass of water. When the cookies come out, the child that is on Frost's shoulder bends down, arms and hands stretching forward. Cookie. Mama Cat, cookie please.
I'll take the plate and I'll lift it up so that the child can grab a cookie.
So the child grabs one cookie in each hand.
I'll go ahead and take a cookie and drink some water. Thank you very much. That was very tasty.
She says, please, I beg of you, help my children.
That's why we're here. I was wondering, how long has this been going on? When did this sign start to happen?
I guess I started noticing changes in the kids maybe 6 weeks ago. It was subtle at first, and it seems almost daily there is a change, and now there is nothing. We lead them around the yard. We have to feed them. I just do not know what to do for them. I feel helpless.
I know a little bit about what's going on with them. It looks like a form of possession. I did use some of my abilities to help try to slow it down. Um, there is a possibility that we might be able to put a ward around them and slow it down even further. But what we really need to know is when you started noticing the changes, was there, did you notice, was anyone around? Did you notice, was there any strangers? Did anybody come and visit the orphanage? Uh, did the kids go anywhere?
Anything else happening out of the ordinary around that time?
She shakes her head at first and she says, I have thought about this endlessly. It has kept me awake at night. She says, I can't think of anything. But I have noticed, ordinarily, I have very vivid dreams and the occasional nightmare. But maybe in the last 2 months, I haven't had any. I don't know if that's related. I haven't really thought about it. But, like I say, I do not know how to help these kids.
Could I possibly use psychology to put her into a uh, to get her into a, not a comatose state, but the, or where you what is it called? You know, take the watch back and forth, hypnotize,
Hypnosis? No, that's an actual skill.
Which you might be able to do at default. You check. Although I would suspect it wouldn't be.
Basic 201.
Mama Cat says, and you know, while I think about it, I used to wake up and use the bathroom about the same time in the middle of the night, every night. But I haven't been doing that lately either.
Huh. Okay. Now I'm starting to wonder if they're all being like drugged or something.
It could also be sleepwalking. Shard, do you sense anything from her?
Astral sight, away.
Just roll perception.
Oh boy.
He absolutely does not. Or he does. Oh my god, she's a monster. Or she's a corpse.
You do not notice anything particular about her. She seems fairly normal.
And that's the great thing about a critical fail like that. Because now we're wondering, is the GM just saying you don't sense anything because he can't think of anything for to say, or is he saying that because you should sense something but you fail?
I was just about to say the very same thing.
Is there anything I have currently as a skill set that might help me to notice anything different about her? Or, I mean, psychology comes to the top of the list. I also have diagnosis, the esoteric medicine. Is there anything else I might be able to roll that might give me an insight as to what may be happening to her?
You You don't need to roll for this. It is blatantly obvious to you that there is a degree of anxiety that she's experiencing over the situation. She obviously cares a lot about these kids. Again, you get that whole everyone's favourite grandma vibe. But other than that, she does appear normal for a person that is very concerned about what's happening.
Where do the kids sleep at night? These particular teenagers.
And is she the only employee?
She says, there's 3 of us here. There's myself, there's Father McMickey, and there's Katrina. She is a...
Crap, I realize I should have been using body language on the old lady, too.
You don't need to roll for that. You pick up the same sort of stuff, and she's not being deceptive or anything like that. No need for detect lies or whatever. You can see it. She's an open book. We do have myself, Father McMickey, and Katrina. She's a humanities student from the University of Washington. She's doing part of her graduate studies here. She volunteers at the orphanage. She comes here Monday through to Friday.
So she's not here.
Does she spend the night when she is here?
Sometimes she does. Into the night, yes.
Have you ever noticed that the teenagers get any better or worse when she's here?
She cares greatly for the kids. I know that. She herself has a...
How long has she been here?
She joined us maybe a little over 3 months ago.
Is there any way we can chat with her, see if she's noticed anything that you may have missed?
Of course.
I would also like to see where the kids sleep too.
She, just with her gaze, she looks over to the lady that was pushing the strollers. She says, that's Katrina there. You are welcome to talk to her, and if you wish to see the kids' beds, I can take you there now. And she then hands the infant and the bottle to Father McMickey. And she does that very gently and says, he has wandered off to sleep. Perhaps, Father McMickey, you can put him to bed? And McMickey obviously agrees and will take the child and into the building.
Hey, Shard, can you come with me to where they sleep?
And I'll speak with Katrina.
Okay, so you go into the building. It is a modest place, very. Obviously they don't have a great deal of money to spend on stuff, but the walls are covered in drawings and kids' artwork that paints a picture that these kids, you get the feeling, are happy and well looked after. This is not a terrible orphanage.
That's a good sign.
There's a number of rooms. She takes you to the rooms the kids share, and explains because of space the kids have to share. She shows you the room where you see Father Mickey putting the infant baby down and tucking it into a cot. There are a couple of empty cots there in that room, and she takes you down the hall and she says, "This is one of the girls' rooms," and then she takes you to the rooms where the teenagers sleep, and they're in separate rooms, boys and girls' room. So first takes you into the girls' room. This is where they sleep, and then you see an assortment of what you would imagine is the room of a teenager or groups of teenagers. So there's on the wall there'll be a poster of whatever the current boy band is and that sort of stuff.
So the teenagers, well, what I'm specifically looking for, so the teenagers that I diagnosed, were they all boys? Was it a mixture of boys and girls?
Boys and girls.
Okay.
Gotta check under all the pillows for the Necronomicon.
So I ask her, is it okay if I look around the room and search around, and Shard, if you can, see if there's anything weird going on while I search. I want to see if there's something that might be causing this possession. Maybe it's in this room somewhere.
All right. Mama Cat, she stands at the door and just sort of waits, and she'll engage in idle chat, answer any questions you have, but you search over the room and there's nothing that gives you any cause for concern. And likewise, looking into the astral, you see nothing that alarms you.
Okay. It's nothing to do with the room and where they're sleeping. Let's check the other room.
You also notice that with both rooms, the boys and girls' rooms of the teenagers, are the same. There's nothing that gives you any sort of cause for concern, except as you're sort of looking, maybe you search under the mattress, and in the boys' room you find a skin mag.
Okay.
And
they still make those?
Well, they do for orphans.
Who reads magazines?
It's the Orphan edition.
Or
it's
who
old.
Looks at magazines, they're not reading it.
It's actually an old, ancient textbook. It's faded. When you find this magazine, do you mention it to Mama Cat?
No, I wouldn't.
All right, so you see it, and then you just sort of slide it back into place. Mama Cat doesn't see it.
The only thing is, I might is shielding my body. I might just look through it to make sure there's nothing. It's just a simple skin mag, but then I'd put it back. No, I'm not looking at it because of the girls or whatever.
You flick through it, and then you turn it sideways and fold it out. And fold it out.
I would not do that. I would just flip through it to make sure there's
just
nothing
checking
stuck
for
in there.
Pentagrams and stuff.
Pentagrams or anything, like, making sure it is just
a skin mag.
Okay.
Sure.
So I would just scooch it back in.
To your back pocket.
No. Back into the bed.
We have internet.
These kids don't. They're orphans.
Speaking of we have internet, I would like to do some research on this area. What was here before? Side note, you can move on, but I'm announcing that anyway.
All right. You can... It is not an ancient Indian burial ground, if that's what you're sort of heading towards.
Well, that would be a start.
He's like, well, there goes that theory.
But you're free to make up whatever you want. You tell us what this was before.
It's an not so ancient Indian burial ground.
I'm resisting the urge to say it was a insane asylum or a graveyard of any sort.
That must have been one bad roll.
Oh, while that stuff's going on, I'm gonna go try to talk to. Did you say it was Katrina?
Katrina. All right. So,
find out if she had noticed anything that the others hadn't, and since I actually remembered it this time, when I should have been doing this before, the body language and detect lies on all of the related parties.
okay, so you will go over and talk to Katrina.
Yep. Just basically trying to find out if she had noticed anything in that time period as well.
Well, she explains that she's not here every day. Since we are on a Saturday, this is an exceptional event. Normally, she's not here on a Saturday. She volunteers for a few hours every day as part of her graduate course at UW.
Okay.
She's been here, nearly 3 months. She tells you that she loves children. She has a sister that she cares for herself. And then she says, other than noticing the kids' gradual, progression. First, it started that they were, behaving differently. They weren't doing some of the things that they would normally do, and then they just become more and more passive. Any fun, any joking and laughter and stuff like that, just any joy they had just began waning until their current state, which is just they're empty shells of people. From her body language, she doesn't seem to be telling you any lies or anything like that. You can't ascertain whether there's any deception there, but her body language tells you that she feels a little bit uncomfortable.
Okay.
She's a little bit nervous, a little bit nervous, twitchy at your questions.
How does he approach that without being a cop? Because he's got.
Can he do that?
It is about this time that Father McMickey will join you there with Katrina. He just sort of stands around. Not in a creepy fashion. It just stands around. He's just part of the interaction.
He no longer has the baby and he's licking his chops.
He's a Catholic priest. She's too old.
I figured he was an
No, what he
insect
meant is
thing
he
and he ate her.
the baby.
Oh, no. But then again, you didn't see him leave the
I
room.
didn't see what happened to the baby.
He may have.
He may have been a conscientious eater who, wiped his mouth down afterwards.
Roll a perception -10 to see if you notice his eyes blink sideways.
Wow, that means I literally have to roll a 3. I so badly want to roll a 3 here. Nope. Well, I rolled a 3. Unfortunately, there were additional numbers present. Okay, so noting that she is uncomfortable. Yeah, how do you approach that without just coming off as...
During the conversation too, like I said, Father McMickey is there. He praises Katrina. He says that she is a fantastic person with the kids. She's going to, do well in whatever pursuit she has. She has a natural affinity with the kids, and it's reciprocated. The kids tend to love her too. She works hard, and it is all volunteer. She spends more time here than we ask of her. She has been fantastic. I wish we had the money to pay her.
I would think that getting someone to open up like that would probably be a function of psychology as an influence role.
I don't have
especially
psychology.
if
You could interrogate.
Applied.
I could.
Interrogation would work.
That's going into the cop mode.
It's probably not unreasonable.
Well, you can interrogate, but subtle. So you ask questions and steer the conversation in such a way that they maybe give up the information.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
Okay, so
Doesn't have to be hostile.
In fact, if you're hostile, you get bonuses.
Yeah, if you have callous, you can get up to +7. That's if you use torture. I'm not planning on using torture. Charisma is a conditional thing, right?
I think it always applies unless... I think it always applies.
Yeah. It applies for general reaction rolls, and it'll apply to your influence skill reaction roll. It doesn't.
So it wouldn't apply to like interrogation checks.
No.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
It will apply for the reaction roll. If you want to use... Actually, can you use interrogation for good reaction? So
interrogation
that would get you a good
questioning
reaction.
a person or so it's like roll a quick contest of interrogation versus their will for each question, which requires 5 minutes per question. If you win, you get a truthful answer. If you tie or lose, the victim remains silent or lies. If you lose by more than 5, it tells you a good, believable lie. Let's see, modifiers -5 if loyalty to, okay, -3 for low empathy, don't have that, +2 for, nope, wouldn't get that because I'm not planning on asking her or talking to her for 2 hours. Yeah, I guess, interrogation is probably the way to go there because her body language sort of caused his hackles to go up. So He's going to probably use interrogation to try to find out if she. Okay, it's one question.
Should probably mention there that being a cop, probably one of the things he's going to think to do in a situation like this is to actually separate her from everybody else.
Yeah, but I want to do that subtly without going. You need to go over there, Father Whatchamadoohickey. I also sort of
get one of us to distract him.
Well, one of the things I also want to do as soon as I get the opportunity is, highlight something about her is causing his hackles to go up to Frost, in the hopes that Frost will either do research on her, or hey, if she's got a phone, if he can remote hack into it and find out something.
Do we have a code word?
That might be something. Well, you and I have actually been working together for a couple months now.
Has it really only been a couple of months? That's hilarious.
10 jobs. That means you're married.
Well, no, because Frost came in sort of recently.
Yeah, when did I start?
Do we remember what it was extraction that
it was that
died.
Smuggling across the border when Ditch died, so
was that extraction?
No, that was Smuggler's Blues.
Okay, so that means I met him March 6th.
So
3 months.
4 months. It was early in March, so roughly slightly less than 4 months. Yeah, anyway, it's probably not unreasonable for us to have a signal. And you did not have an implant comm or anything like that.
I do not. I don't think I have. No, the only implant he has is the thing that gives him the enhanced time sense.
Right.
I should look at getting an implant comm, but I don't want to get under the knife again.
Give me a perception roll for Frost. Just straight up perception. I suppose you can use observation if you've got the skill.
Well, it's not better.
We demand a critical success. That's a pretty good roll,
success.
Though. All right. So, just as part of the things that you generally notice, you will notice that Father McMickey has a comlink. Mama Cat, she does not. Katrina has a comlink, and there is also a basic terminal that seems to be pinging in the orphanage building.
Got the Wi-Fi popping up.
Yep.
I thought that you said they didn't have internet.
In the underground they don't, but here in Touristville they do.
I was talking about the kids. The kids having.
The kids don't have internet. That's in the. You can't watch porn in the lounge room.
You can if
those kids totally stole the father's porn magazine. He's been looking for it for a week.
Yeah, that better be about right. Does the name on that terminal suggest its usage? Like, is it called admin or something?
That would be an IQ roll.
Well, I can do that. Barely.
Yes. You are fairly certain that this is the admin computer for the orphanage.
I was going to say I have no reason to get into that, but I am curious. So Frost is going to kind of take a cue here and sit down somewhere off in a corner and break out the deck and start going to work.
The kid on your shoulders goes, "What's that? Why do you have that?"
How would I answer that?
He climbs, since you sit down, he climbs off your shoulders, kneels next to you, and he's looking at it like, is it a Game Boy or something to that effect? What's that? What do you use that for?
Right. Okay. Well, he's gonna what's
Go
gonna
into
happen?
extreme detail about exactly what it is.
What's gonna happen is, at the beginning, he's gonna be very distracted with this kid asking the questions, and he is gonna try to answer them in that way that you don't know how to answer a kid, so you just talk to him like he's a normal person. But there's going to be a part of this process as he starts going down the rabbit hole where his attentiveness is going to kick in, and he's not going to register the kid there anymore.
Okay, so the kid is a distraction at first, asking all sorts of questions, and as soon as you give an answer, the kid will go, "But why?"
I know how this works.
So it is just a natural inquisitiveness. The kid asks, "Does it play games? Can I play games on it?" And then you just zone out, and then the kid shakes you to get your attention because you're not answering. Perception rolls from... Actually, you can do perception rolls from everyone with the exception of Frost. So those of you that checked the inside of the place out by this time, you've come out and you can all see this. And on a successful perception roll, you will notice that this kid is sort of shaking Frost to get his attention, but he's getting no answer. And then the kid looks to you guys and just has this look on his face like, I think he's broken.
Yeah, just now that you say that, I think a deck does have... No, it can have a terminal or an actual keyboard, but if you're jacked in, you don't actually need that. And I think in my case, I don't even have a keyboard, so I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just sort of staring off into space.
So yeah, the kid just has this look. Those of you that successfully perceive will just see that, it's like, I think he's broken.
Which ironically are the people who have never worked with Frost before.
But I know he's a decker, correct?
I assume that you guys introduced yourselves.
So I understand what a decker does. So I'll come over to the kid and I say, it's okay. He's fine. He's doing something. Yeah, and once he's
in
finished,
computer
he'll
land
be fine.
now.
Okay.
The kid goes, did I do that?
No, you didn't do that. You
should have told him. Yeah.
Would you like another Would you like another cookie?
Like a flicking of a light switch, his attention is diverted to the cookie. Yeah.
So I'll get him another cookie and direct him to another area where he can sit down and eat the cookie.
All too easy.
So you distract the kid with a cookie. Again, this is an orc kid. So when you open Mama Cat's picnic basket to access the cookies, he uses both hands to grab.
I'll say, hey, just one, okay?
He goes, one each.
No, just one.
There is an audible sigh as he reluctantly or very slowly puts it back.
Okay. Thank you.
Once he's put it down, you can. It's almost the expression on his face is like he's lost something.
It's fine, just one cookie.
He will then go off and you sit him down on a step and he will sort of eat his cookie.
Guys, do you mind if I take a break from the game? Or can we take a break from the game?
We can take a 5-minute break if people want.
All right. Thank you.
Take
Right.
5.
Taken 5.
He
All right,
says,
we are back.
hopefully.
So,
His,
one of the comments that you made was, he said he reached in with 2 for 2. Can I use a psychology check just to make sure that's just a normal response from a child, or is this something unique?
I see what you're saying.
No, you know that this is just this child wants cookies.
Okay.
You
Just
got
wanted to
psychology.
make sure.
You got a psychology of 17. That's a super easy roll to make right there.
I know, but still, it's...
It was a possibility. It was some good thinking.
Hey, I've seen kids put their hand in the cookie jar and grab a handful, as many as they can fit in their hand. This is his variation on that.
Right.
Okay.
So I have been chatting with Katrina, and okay, so I'm gonna probably at the culmination of the interrogation thing, as he's like, he's gonna be pulling away. He's like, oh, and one other thing, and then he's going to be using that angle where it's like, there's something you're not telling me. It's all over your face. I can tell you care for these kids, so help me help them. What are you holding back, Katrina? And I will make the interrogation roll in the hopes. Actually, I think that should be like that.
So that's all your bonuses applied?
I do not know if I have any additional bonuses that I can apply. I have the appearance attractive, but I do not think that's going to apply. I have the reputation, but I don't think that's going to apply because she's not likely familiar with the Shadowrunning. If she is, then that's a +4.
No. What about
charisma?
the modifiers for interrogation, like extra lengthy or anything like that? Because it's 5 minutes, so you're sort of talking and then...
The +2 is if you spend like 2 hours talking to him, and I wasn't planning on spending that long.
Alright, so...
it's like, apparently if her loyalty to her leader or cause is very good or excellent, I'm at an additional -5. I am not at -3 because I don't have low empathy. I am not at +3 because I'm not using severe threats. I am not at +6 because I am not using torture. But I am trying to capitalize on her affection, love, whatever for the kids. So
I will allow an assist roll from Gorgo with a psychology. If
you just want him to roll that 17, don't you?
and roll an 18, and that would make me laugh.
That'd be about right.
Oh my god, I think she's psychotic.
So you will get a +1 assist from Gorgo as he applies a. As you're talking, he's coming at it from the angle of psychology, trying to get her to lower her defenses and open up. So what have we got?
So it's a quick contest of
4.
interrogation versus the prisoner's will. Versus the prisoner's will.
You didn't need to roll that in the box.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I did, so I did.
Okay, so you, after this 5 minutes, and then you do your turn and say about just one thing, you can see that triggers something in Katrina, and she is visibly upset. But she, there's like, she's not like crying, but she's her eyes are becoming a little bit teary, and she's visibly upset. No need to roll body language or anything like that. It's
I was
clear
just
to all
in
of
the
you.
process of reaching for it too.
You have triggered something in her, and McMickey says, "What is it, Katrina? What's wrong?" And she looks to Father McMickey and says, "I'm sorry." And the expression on McMickey's face is like, sorry for what?
I stole your porn magazine and gave it to one of the kids.
And in 6th grade, I put whatever in a blender and... Anyway, she breaks down and says, I don't know what's happening, but I've been hiding something from you.
Is it the Necronomicon?
I'm totally tensed in case she's gonna go all creepy banshee on them, and we have to draw the pistols and shoot her.
So she just is very apologetic. I'm so sorry. And Father Mickey says, calm down, Katrina. It's okay. Tell us. What do you know? She says, I've been forced to do it. I had no other choice. And he goes, Ruth, she's my only family. And McMickey says, Ruth, how is she involved in this? And
Do we know who Ruth is?
you do not, but
Probably her sister that
her
they
sister.
referenced.
You get the feeling that it is probably her sister. And with this, Mama Cat, she will gather the kids and say, kids, come with me.
Oh, and she had that grandma thing and a tone in her voice, and they all immediately obeyed.
Yep.
It's like an instant critical success on leadership.
So she takes the kids away so they're not privy to, what's being said, including the catatonic kids. She will lead each of them sort of by the hand, and they will walk behind her
Do I, in the time that I've done the esoteric medicine and the or in my version of wards, do I notice any kind of improvement in their situation?
No. But you didn't expect that anyway. Like I said, your wards are to stop possession. So if at the moment they're not possessed, you could see that astrally. But if someone came to possess, they would have, say,
Difficulty doing it.
They would have bonuses bonuses to resist the possession.
Okay. So we might want to consider wards if needed.
To actually unpossess, you would have to look at things like exorcism or magic.
Okay. Please continue.
So, she is a sorrowful mess, and she begins to tell you that she was approached by a guy named Clay Morpool. And this was about 6 weeks ago. And give me a moment, let me check the notes to make sure I'm telling you everything. Alright, so she was approached by a guy named Clay Morpool. This guy took Ruth and has been holding Ruth, threatening to kill her if Katrina didn't perform these tasks. And she goes on to say, every night I come in and she administers a powerful sedative to Mama Cat, and she does the same for the kids. She pulls out her phone and shows, as she sort of handles her phone, you will see a picture of her and a young human girl, maybe 15 years old, on the screensaver of her phone. You assume that that's probably her sister. So she shows you some instructions, like some messages and stuff, saying, and there's like detailed notes of dosages for ages and body weights of this particular sedative. And as you're sort of...
Do I know the sedative?
Do you have physician? Or you have, pharmacy?
I have pharmacy.
Pharmacy.
Synthetic.
No need to roll? Yes, you do.
Okay. Do I know how easy it is to get, or where it might be?
Yeah, that was
obtained
gonna be
from?
my next. That was gonna be my
All right,
next question.
so that will require a roll. So it's fairly routine. So pharmacy +4. which I think you're not going to fail unless you're critical.
You could roll an 18.
Except you go the other way. You know how to get it. It is only available to hospitals. You can't get it over the counter. So you'd have to get it from a hospital, from an official source, or the black market.
So it's not impossible to obtain. It's just difficult.
Right, it's not freely or not publicly available. And as she's scrolling through this list, you will see a photo of the same girl that was on the screensaver, except she is tied up and appears to be bruised. And you will also notice that there is a strong resemblance
If
in
anybody
appearance
is
to Katrina.
watching or paying attention, they'll notice that Gorgo is visibly getting upset seeing this.
Yeah, Frey's not exactly particularly enthusiastic about this either, because it's like she's like, "Oh, they've got my sister." It's like there's a big button that's being pushed.
Is that list of tasks magically significant? As in, it indicates spells?
No. So it's just dosages for calculating body weights to get the dosages exactly right. So she applies the sedative for Mama Cat and the kids, and then she has to wait and open the orphanage at 1 a.m. every morning. She says, "I received a text today," and she will show you that. And the text reads, "Tonight, final pickup, 1 a.m. And the text is dated today.
I think we need bigger guns. Conveniently enough, I have at least mine.
Is there any way of getting Frost's attention when he's currently in the zone?
Shoot him a text.
So I'll do that. I'll text him and let him know to hack into Katrina's phone and try to trace the source of the instructions.
Right.
Include the dude's name.
Yeah, and Clay Marple.
Marple, whatever.
Right. Okay. You guys pass on all the info you got there.
Yep.
I'll start digging into that.
I'm not going to include smiley faces.
And I'm also going to give him the name of the powerful sedative that was being used to see if he could maybe track even a source from that way, whether it was checking hospitals to see any correlation that way too.
Well, you never know.
Okay, so she was told to open the thing at 1 a.m. every night.
Yes.
Are there any cameras outside the stuff that might be able to capture the vehicle that was used?
Father McKinney, who seems visibly distraught and obviously betrayed, he says, "We don't have any cameras here, unfortunately."
Why wasn't he?
Not just here, but
he doesn't stay here.
In the area.
Yeah, there
He shrugs and says, "I'm not sure. I don't know what cameras are available."
pass that information on to Frost as well. See if you can't find a vehicle, street cams, vehicle around 01.
So she says, several men show up in a van every night at 1 a.m. I open the doors, they take the kids, and they are returned by 6 a.m. She looks to Father McKinney and she just breaks down and says, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to hurt the kids.
They had leverage on you.
Let's see what Frost can find out. Otherwise, I would recommend we get these kids to a safe location tonight. And if need be, we can spring a trap tonight.
Yeah, springing a trap's good, but we're going to need to end up letting at least one of them go so we can follow them. Unless their vehicle has a functional GPS system, in which case maybe Frost can identify where they're originating.
We could tag them.
Well, if they come here and there's no, and the kids are completely gone, that's going to put her sister in more danger, and we don't want to do that.
Well, we could let all the kids go. We could put tags on the kids. We could also tag the vehicle if we see it.
I don't want the kids to be.
They only take the 5. They only take the 5 that are catatonic.
I would suspect that if they don't get all the kids, they're probably going to do something rash.
But we also don't want the kids to be here tonight either. I look at Katrina and I say, I understand why you did what you did. Believe me, I do. We will do everything that we can to try to reunite you with your sister. But we also need to take care of these kids. So if there's anything else you can tell us, anything at all, descriptions, whatever, tell us.
She'll give you all the descriptions that she has, but she doesn't know much more than what she's already told. She doesn't know where they're taken. She doesn't know what happens to them when they get taken away. She just knows that if she doesn't cooperate, that they're going to hurt her sister. And then she emphasizes, she is all the family I have in this world.
Believe me, I understand that, Katrina. So,
and she will even, since she's opened up, she will even explain why that is the case, why her sister's her only family, and you'll sympathize with her. Anyone that has charitable would definitely have to make a roll to not want to help.
I have empathy, so I can emphasize.
I have a sister, a younger sister, and he's got an obsession about keeping her safe. So, yeah, he totally emphasizes with her as well.
I am selfless. That,
Does Shard
have
family
that means
issues?
You'll throw yourself on the grenade if appropriate.
Shard's out of uniform here. He's the only one without any family issues.
What are you talking about? Both of his parents are dead. His mom, it's going to turn out, he's going to learn that she was trafficking in the black arts. His dad died of a mysterious circumstances.
So, while we While she's given this information, can we get the rolls from Frost to see what he comes up with in the net?
if anything.
Sure.
All right, so how do we proceed with that? We don't want to give them the kids because that's bad.
How many kids is it?
I guess whether or
5
not
kids. There's 12 kids in the orphanage. 5 kids get taken away every night.
whether or not you let the kids go depends on whether or not you're attempting to track down the source of what's going on here. Because if they don't take the kids, we're not going to know where they're taking them.
Well, what does Frost come up with in his search in the net?
What would the GM like?
So, what details exactly are you hoping to get?
We're looking for...
I'm going to look for... I'm going to trace the... Let me start over. Background check on the name, Claymore Pool. I'm going to attempt to trace the source of the texts. And I think that's it for now.
Street cams.
Also, oh, right, the street cam. So, 3 things there.
Okay, so I guess that would all work. Research. Research would work.
All right.
And while you're researching, can I get Ethan to give me a universe reaction roll?
Universe is indifferent and does not care.
As usual.
So, given that the universe is indifferent and does not care, there is a single camera that watches the street.
Probably stoplight.
Yep.
You just want the single roll, or you want 3 times, or how you want to do that?
Single roll, but you succeed by 8.
Sorry.
That's
Plenty.
Alright, you do not find much on Claymore Pool. He just seems to be an average dude. The only thing is, he's the sort of person that would run a conspiracy theory YouTube channel, and that is related to some arcane stuff.
Are you being invaded by aliens?
I have a cat that's trying to get into the door and is like scratching it.
That
That's why you
explains
shouldn't
that.
have a cat.
Right. So this guy is known.
Not really. He seems like a normal dude, but he's into some conspiracy theory stuff. He's maybe like drank the Kool-Aid a little bit.
So that is not
He
a
has-
pseudonym or anything that we can determine.
It does not appear to be a pseudonym or anything like that. He does appear to have magical ability. So some
So he's
spell
registered.
there's in some of the chat channels and stuff he's been in, there's been some discussion about the Universal Brotherhood.
Okay. As part of my research there, I am going to send a message to Book to see if he ever heard of the guy, if he's been to the school, etc. Not necessarily expecting, but
Well, give me the roll.
anyway.
9 or less on a book.
Well, why the hell not? I don't have a thing for that. I'll just do the thing. Well, okay.
He's just gonna say, "Leave me alone."
Let me find book skill.
So I can't see either Mama Cat or the father allowing us to use the kids as bait, and I'm not comfortable doing that either.
Neither would I.
So maybe we can have her text the number or something and say that the kids, well, that maybe like they were taken to the hospital or something.
No, we don't want to do that because if the risk is that they would kill Ruth.
Give me a roll on 3d6. This is for a skill 15.
Who?
Anybody?
Anyone?
I have a 15. And I critically failed
That
for
was
it.
shit.
Oh boy.
Poor Book. Book exploded.
Book has luck.
Does he?
But
Actually, I don't know if he does.
I think he does actually.
I have
Not
luck.
Sure.
I had to look at his character sheet.
I have luck.
Yeah. Normally that
Luck
only applies to you.
you.
No luck.
The question is, would this apply to you in a broad sense? But
Not in this case. So
Seems like
book
that
says
was-
book says apart from being registered, I've got nothing on him. He hasn't attended any schools, or at least not under that name.
What about an address? Do we have an address for her? Claymore Pole?
You do not have an address.
what was that name? Was that whoever it was that was communicating with her identified himself as?
Claymore Pool.
That is who that. Okay. And she's not met him in person, I presume.
She has. She has.
She
met him in
has.
person.
Has she?
So she gave us a description of what he looks like, because he approached her 6 weeks ago, took Ruth away from her, and then said, "If you don't do these tasks, I will kill Ruth."
Okay. Well, I will at least pass back a couple of good images of him, and that seems bad.
It does,
just so
doesn't
you
it?
guys, so one of you guys can show her the picture and confirm that's him.
I show it to her. Is this him?
She'll nod. That's him, and the sight of him you can just see triggers her again, and she starts tearing up and is all distraught.
Now, okay, so do we have an address for him?
You do not. No, nothing current.
What
Okay,
about the
so
street
in
camera
whatever,
and
well,
tried to track the vehicle.
whatever pictures there are of him, can we narrow down where he is?
Might be able to do that
landmarks
based
and
off
that
the
sort of thing.
picture of the sister being held captive. Enhance,
Possibly.
magnify.
You do not have any means to find a current address for him, or location, or landmarks, or anything like that. This photo appears to be.
Is that a quote unquote actual photo?
It's an actual photo that's posted on social media, or maybe it's in some sort of hermetic magazine or something like that, where he's participating in some sort of ritual.
Anything from context around that image?
No.
Like, if it's an article, what's the article about, that sort of thing?
It's a random article about, I don't know, what would a nut job be involved in? Maybe some protests.
It's about how magic is turning the frogs gay.
Something like that.
Photographer credits and
One
date.
Peter Parker.
Let's go with that.
So I'm going to attempt to track down the photographer and find out where that picture was taken. Not that that necessarily gets us anything, but something.
We'll say that after some investigation, you can. What's the park in Washington? I think is it Washington Park?
There are a lot of parks.
There's one main park in Seattle.
Well, the one right there in that area, there's a Lake Forest Park. I don't know. Or are you talking about around
Lake Union Park.
Lake Union.
To the north.
The North remembers.
So that is a picture taken in the park at Lake Union Park.
All right. Let's see what else.
Traffic.
Oh, it's right there. It's in the north on that map, but not on the one I'm looking at. Yeah. Hell, it's in the shadow of Ronnke.
Really?
And I say that nearly everything's in the shadow of Ronnke. It's a few blocks away from As Technology. Well, the lake is. Actually, I guess is that the park? Yeah, anyway. What else were we looking at? So, cell signal, or not the cell signal, but the text. Trace that.
Goes to a burner phone.
Because of course it does.
So you should remotely trigger it so it burns him. That's what that means, right?
Of course.
Yeah? Groovy.
Does he actually contact her again, typically, before they do the whatever they're doing?
No, she just has a schedule. So in the notes with all the doses and stuff like that, there's a schedule where they come and pick them up at 1 a.m. in the morning.
So she won't get another call from them.
No.
So the search on Clay didn't pull up any organizations. I suppose if these guys are wearing robes, those might be what's the word I'm looking for? Visually indicative of an organization.
Didn't
No,
they
they're
say
not.
Universal Brotherhood?
But you do know that he has been, talking in various chat groups and stuff about the Universal Brotherhood, saying they're not so bad. They had their reasons.
Okay, I remember the name of the Universal Brotherhood, but I don't remember who they are.
They're the insect dudes.
Was
It was the cult. Yeah.
Oh. Did we start looking into them yet?
They were mostly wiped out, as far as we knew.
Okay. All right. So that leaves the street cam.
Okay, the street cam. Give me a hacking roll, and we'll say this is at -3 or bad 5. So just do it quick and dirty.
Which one is it? -3 or -5?
Oh, did I -3 bad? Did I say -5?
You said -3 bad 5.
Oh, okay.
It's that cat. It's like caused his brain to break. This is why you shouldn't have cats. Cats are evil.
No, that's probably got everything to do with waking up at 7 o'clock this morning. So my brain's been broken since
Why
then.
would anyone do that to themselves?
On a Sunday, I don't know.
If you have a dental appointment, I had to get up like that the other day.
Okay, so you access the footage on the camera. You're only able to access what's in the current buffer, as everything in that camera goes off-site somewhere that you don't have access to. But you will see that a van, a fairly nondescript van, rolls up at the orphanage at 1 a.m. And it does so with lights off. You will see. Give me perception.
I'll take that.
From the camera angle, it's a little bit difficult for you, but you can see that the front door of the orphanage opens, and standing sort of backlit from the orphanage is a figure which you imagine is probably Katrina, though you can't tell.
All right, got a license plate?
Do you have body language?
No.
Well, if he's sharing this, are you sharing it or are you not sharing it?
I will.
I have body language. Damn, I need to improve
You will be able to see that the figure that is standing in the doorway just has a posture, head hung low, sort of in defeat.
Just stories, and then
just further confirming that Katrina is clearly a good guy being forced to do bad things.
Right.
And on this particular occasion, when they cart the kids away, you can see that she, as they drive off, she sort of slumps to the ground.
Right. She's a fantastic actress.
Tags on the van.
She goes, "Oh no, I had you guys fooled." And she rips off her mask and goes, "I'm Claire
Withers.
Morkle."
We knew it.
Ha ha ha.
One of these days, man.
All right. So, what is your plan?
Tags on the van.
The tags on the van tell you that this van is a what year are we again?
73?
This is
Double
a
check.
the tags belong to a
73.
2070 model Tesla Roadster.
Right.
Did you say 2070 or 17?
70. 70.
Okay, because it's like, holy crap, that's a really old car.
Suppose I could check to see if the original Tesla is reported stolen, but I don't know that's going to help us much.
Well, if we can identify it through the tags, I don't know how the potential GPS stuff would work, but if you could identify it through the tags, you might be able to further identify its GPS stuff.
Well, that's just it. The tags are stolen.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Well, even if the tags are stolen, if they haven't changed the tags, and they're still using stolen tags, can we have any of your contacts searching for
good
those?
thought.
For
Well,
that,
you could bolo it, I guess.
That's a pretty decent thought. Let's see. Is Tosh available? Nope. Let's see.
Almost.
Oh, hey, I'm gonna do the hardcore stuff. Hey, my former handler is potentially available, and I probably would want to let them know that discreetly that this crap is maybe rearing its head again anyway.
I could try my. This is kind of out of character, but I could discreetly contact my mafia group.
All right, so
Okay.
you can certainly put out those feelers, but we won't deal with that because that'll be plan B. If everything turns to shit, then
Okay.
maybe they will turn up results.
I just to be thinking out loud, I was wondering if it might be useful to have Knight Errant have a cruiser do a drive-by through here right around 1.
Well, unfortunately, I can't get my knight errant person to answer the phone.
I do have a suggestion. I do know how to work with pharmaceuticals. So if Katrina has the sedatives in her possession,
That's
I
an
might
interesting
be
thought.
able to make it into a airborne situation. So when they enter the building, we can release it in an airborne fashion and subdue them that way.
Well,
What I was
you see from the footage that they don't actually enter the building. Katrina opens the door and she leads them out.
Yeah, what I was just thinking was I wonder if you could introduce another drug into the system that will cause the sedative to metabolize faster than normal.
It's not going to matter for these dudes because they're already almost zombies.
Either way, as you're sort of planning, I assume that Father McMickey is privy to this thinking
I
out
have
loud.
I have no reason to keep him out of it.
He
Yeah, I have no reason
is
to keep him out.
completely adamant that the kids will not be involved in this at all.
And I can't blame him for that.
He won't have any part of it. That includes any sort of drugging on that particular night.
No, we're not. I wasn't talking about drugging the kids. I was talking about ambushing the perpetrators. In this particular case, if Katrina was willing to help us,
My first thought, based off of what I've read on the wiki about this stuff, is I don't think those dudes are human anymore. Not the kids, but the guys who showed up. I suspect they have been possessed by the insect
clickers.
things. Yeah.
And we know about the Universal Brotherhood. We know that the clickers are involved. I can still use potentially my pharmacy and poisons ability to create something that would be able to knock them out. And
You
I
could
also have
certainly
hazardous
come up with some
materials,
options.
biological.
Is that actually going to work against these things, though?
I don't know. Would it?
You could, but you would need to. It would be pharmacy at a penalty, obviously, because it's not going to be human physiology that you're working with.
Well, it's pharmacy synthetic. And then I have hazardous materials, biological, poisons,
that's not gonna be
and
the
chemistry.
Hazardous material just means you know how to like transport and or dispose of hazmat stuff.
Yeah, poisons is a possibility, but I think you'll suffer biology penalties on that as well. Since pretty much all your medical knowledge is going to be keyed toward humans and not.
Well, frankly, I think
people.
I think we just need to ambush these dudes, and worst comes to worst, we kill them all, and then use their vehicle and ideally their the GPS to backtrack where they're going.
Father McMickey says, I suggest you also contact King Willy. Report in and let him know what's
that's
going
true.
down.
He did mention maybe having access to specific anti-insect things gear.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
So texting Frost, does the car that you saw, can you tell if that version of a car would have GPS built in?
Well,
if it's a modern car, it's got
everything
GPS.
has GPS.
Yeah, I figure
in.
everything has got that built in anymore. I mean, hell, we've almost got that now, and we're not into the 2070s yet.
Even if it isn't a 2070 model Tesla, it's going to have a GPS.
Well, and anybody riding in the vehicle is going to have a comlink, and that comlink's going to have GPS.
Presumably.
Unless they're like insane security nuts and refuse to get one.
Or insect zombies.
Or possibly insect zombies.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to Dude then, to King Willy.
So when you tell him what goes on, you
show him all the research.
You will see him sort of move away from the microphone on his cell, and you hear him cursing in, what is it? Jamaican is...
I have no idea. I don't speak language, so...
Patois? So he's cursing in Patois.
He's cursing in a language I don't understand, so...
Well, it's mostly English, Pidgin English. But you can tell that he's cursing. You don't know the words, but you know the tone.
You don't need translator microbes for that.
Correct. He says, I will meet you at New Babylon. We need to prepare.
Do you want us to bring the kids?
No.
He says no. Get the
Where would
kids somewhere safe.
On it.
You guys got somewhere safe to take them?
Father
have
Mickey
connections
says I
with,
can take him to the church.
Because I can take them somewhere safe, although I don't know if that's going to be safe from spiritual tampering.
Oh, he's going to take him to the church and whistle up an Inquisition team.
Because I haven't had the opportunity to use my lair yet.
Yeah, he'll go to the church and call in, what's his name? Vampire Hunter.
Gregor Eisenhorn. Gideon Ravenor. One of those Inquisitors.
Vampire
Well,
Hunter D.
What's the movie where the... Oh,
Don't you hate that?
hate it.
It's right there in your frontal lobe. You just can't pick it out.
Where the Catholic Church
Silent
actually
Hill.
has this guy and they send him to Vampire Town.
Vampires.
League of... No, it's not the League.
I think it's vampire.
It's vampires.
No.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, vampires.
Well, that probably describes a number of different works of fiction.
Where it's an actual organization, like the Special Forces of the Vatican, and they send this guy to
vampires.
Transylvania.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Dr. Van Helsing.
That's it. Van Helsing.
Okay.
So he calls in Van Helsing to watch over the kids. No, so Father McMickey says, I can take the kids to the church. We can, we'll take some bedding and the kids can sleep on the floor. They'll be fine there.
And we will resolve this by the time you're back.
We could set up some dummies.
Totally tell them they're not going to bother your kids again.
Well, no, they don't actually come into the building. They walk them out.
Damn it!
Father.
What was that
Well,
line?
we
What was
could
that
have-
line in the frickin' Assassin's Creed mini movie? Not the real one, but the mini movie.
Right.
Here's we could see if Katrina's willing to help in that we could state that in this particular night she is not able to get the kids to move.
Well, yeah, there are probably a number of tricks we could try to pull that way. I do wonder how they would react to that, to a change in the routine.
But considering this is the final night and they need the kids, they may not be as resistant to going in and grabbing them.
Yeah, that's one to put in the hopper. I think we can potentially use that. Say there's a problem with the sedative or something, they actually can't wake up. Plus, it'd probably help Katrina if she can actually participate in their rescue.
It's like seek out this pit of vipers and be merciless. Something like that.
So with
Father
that, should we
McMickey
head
says, I
back over
don't
to,
condone any
King
violence,
Willy?
so don't tell me what you're about to do.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
So
Except in the confessional.
So do we want to see if Katrina wants to stay with us and help us, and head over to King Willy?
We're definitely heading over to King Willy.
Do we want to see if Katrina wants to come with us?
Well, how far away are they going, or is she going to stay behind? They're leaving the other kids here.
All the kids are going.
Okay.
And Father McMickey insists he doesn't want any risk to the kids at all.
Let's go ahead
Katrina
and leave.
Katrina will stay because she wants to help her sister.
Well, actually, I guess you leave her the keys and everything. So, yeah, let's just have her stay behind and stand by. We'll go talk to Willy and find out what the situation is going to require, and then we can decide where to go from there.
All right, so we head over to King Willy, knowing that at least the kids are safe and Katrina's staying behind. So we all head back to King Willy.
Okay.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I think I only watched that once, and of course I
I
can't hear
really
it.
liked it. Go
hear it.
and it's like go and find this. Hold on, where is it?
All right, so
Find the pit where these snakes hide and be merciless.
you head back to Willy. You've got to give it to the people who initially fought the insect spirits. They must have been some tough SOBs. Fortunately for you, advances have been made in both the knowledge of the weakness of the spirits, as well as the weapons capable of neutralizing some of the strengths of the spirits. Your employer said he could help. You arrive at New Babylon, and King Willy greets you at the door. He ushers you in and quickly locks the door behind you. Tell me what you have discovered, and leave no information out. Is it as I have feared? He shakes his head as you divulge what you know. You hear him whispering, "Not again, not again." Quietly, whispering "not again," quietly to himself. After you finish, he goes to the back room and emerges a minute later with 2 small crates. I went ahead and secured these crates, hoping I was wrong, but I wanted to be prepared for the worst. Inside one, you will find 9 ink grenades filled with KEIV.
Grenades?
Like
Ink?
the ink grenades are like liquid grenades, so they explode and shower you in ink.
Okay.
In this case, he says filled with KEIV insecticide. In the other crate are capsule rounds, also filled with KVIE. Use them with extreme prejudice.
You got shotgun rounds for those?
Everything. So whatever weapons you use, you have insecticide rounds.
I could really jack you up there. I'm gonna need some for the where the heck is it? The biochemical aerosol for my underbarrel grenade launcher.
It's all there. The crates are very complete.
Outstanding.
For some reason, it's like a TARDIS on the inside. You just like keep scrolling, and more racks of different types of ammunition.
It's like a replicator, so you just type in which rounds you need, and it just materializes them in the crate.
And that is
gear up.
where we'll leave it, as there's a montage of you guys gearing up.
Oh yeah, time for the Rambo scene.
So here's a question: what are the weapons that most of you are carrying?
A pistol for me.
So you're just carrying a pistol?
Wow.
Auto
I got
pistol
the
9mm.
Okay, so it's really mostly a montage of me gearing up, then going, I'm going to need these rounds, and I'm going to need these rounds, and I'm going to need these rounds.
I got the heavy pistol and the UAW.
Yeah, I recreated the Ares off of Fair Sheet.
Which one? The Predator 5? It's a heavy pistol. Yeah, I just used the heavy pistol and just decided it's an Ares 5.
So you have 2 magazines, each of whatever ammo type you use for your primary weapon. You also have 9 ink grenades.
So it's just
Each
primary
of us
weapon?
9 total.
As you scroll through the box, it just happens that they have, in the box, there is the correct ammunition for your primary weapon. There's 2 magazines. So whatever your primary weapon is, you've got 2 magazines of ink.
Okay, so I would have the 10mm for the pistol, but not for the storm carbine. Because the carbine is like my oh shit weapon, not my primary.
Well, you determine what your primary weapon is in this case.
I'm going to presume it's the one I have signature gear and weapon bond for.
But I'm happy for you to decide, okay, on this mission I'm going to need this weapon. This will be my go-to weapon for this op. So
Okay, so
the choice is yours.
Have him describe exactly what's up with the, how tough these things are. Because it does sort of sound like I probably need the storm carbine to be my primary in this.
Yeah, if that guy was part of the Ares teams, then he'll know how to tell you.
So me and him probably have a discussion in complete jargon that most of you are like, are they speaking English?
Alright, so you will, as he explains the insects, the clickers, he says they have a natural immunity to normal weapons. They don't seem to suffer any injury. Magic, of course, will burn them, so you employ magic, and the insecticides are obviously effective against them.
Yeah, so it sounds like I probably need to go in there with the carbine locked and loaded. And since we know that one dude is a wizard, and we do not know that they are necessarily non-human, I'm probably going to be going in there with meteoric round magazines. All right. Well, next week it looks like we're going to be shooting some damn bugs. It's a bug hunt.
It's a bug hunt.
In their featureless face.
Well, with the rifle, he's less. He cares a little bit less about where he shoots them.
Okay, so everyone can get themselves 2 points.
Yay!
Okay. Y points. Do I want to spend those? What do I need to spend those on?
So we got 2 points, or how many points did we get?
2 points. You can spend them now. We can take care of that next week. Up to you. And remember, new characters have 3 sessions in which you can just chop and change and tweak your characters as you see fit, as long as the points all add up.
So how did I do? Any feedback?
Yeah. You seem to have gotten the general hang of it so far. Next time we get into combat, that's going to be another matter. Because GURPS is not D&D.
Oh yeah, It's like each round is 1 second. It's not the 6 seconds you normally see.
And when you get hit, you know about it.
Yeah.
Especially if you get hit by something like a storm rifle. That's like one shot,
Yeah.
insta death.
Especially if you crit fail your dodge and get shot in the skull.
And that oh yeah, that wasn't a storm rifle though. That's just a regular rifle.
It really didn't matter.
Okay, cool beans. Well then, I guess we shall see you next week when we are shooting aliens. Wait, bugs, whatever.
Well, literally aliens.
Let's rock!
So, are there
Where's
any
the minigun?
skills you guys think I should pick up?
We mentioned merchant.
So, merchant.
So if you're actually doing exchanges of money, that's probably a sensible thing to do.
Well, if you want to
other than
haggle
that, you can
prices,
just hang on to it.
if you want to haggle, merchant is a skill for haggling.
Okay.
Which reminds me, none of you tried to haggle with regards to King Willy's price.
No, I didn't, because I'm not. Us Alpha Team guys got to look out for one another.
I was presuming because it was so
Well-
low that he wasn't going to be able to raise it much.
Technically, I did use diplomacy to get the stuff for free.
Yes.
Well, yeah. No, I figure if we're going to be doing some haggling, it's probably going to be when we try to sell the artifact. And that we will haggle the hell out of.
You'll have to make sure that you actually get the artifact.
That's another matter. One thing at a time.
So, is it 9 ink grenades each or 9 ink grenades total?
9 ink grenades total, and 2 magazines of whatever weapon you intend to use.
So 2 each with 1 extra.
It was just the 6,000 starting cash for specifically for gear, correct?
Yes, because the rest of your income is tied up into your lifestyle. So you have an apartment, you have a car, and you have all the things that you're expected to have for your status level.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure that's what I base it all off of. So just want to make sure that was indeed the right number.
So yeah, $6,000 or 20% of the starting wealth can go into equipment.
So, I did look into my contacts, and I decided to go with a contact drug dealer. His name is Randy Kane. He's with the Mafia. And then the contact for the medical is Claudia Vesta. She's with Doc Wagon.
Oh, it can't be Claudia. We can't have 2 Claudias. That's way too many Claudias.
I didn't choose Claudia because of maybe I did, but it just sounded like a good name.
That's fine.
What if
Pay
it's
no
the same
attention to
Claudia?
Daniel.
That would be hilarious.
She moonlights as Doc Wagon.
And
Well, we don't know
so
what she
the-
does when we
Auntie.
don't see her.
So just this is kind of out of Randy Kane is basically the person that works with me and getting the drugs that I need for selling. So that's why he's
So
a
he's someone I'm
contact.
going to have to shoot.
If you ever meet him, yeah.
I wonder if Gorgo knows Freddy.
If he's part of the Mafia, I might.
No, he's not part of the Mafia, but he's part of the drug scene.
It's
He'd
possible.
probably be a competitor.
Maybe.
Okay, well, I'm going to log
Stream
off
out.
then.
As well.
All right.
For
Take care, everybody.
Next week.
for Paul's
User
benefit.
disconnected from your channel.
There you go. There's Freddy.
That's a long story right there.
Good night, everybody.
All right, good night,
Catch
stream.
you next week then.
Stream out.